Boom boom ba ba dum bum ba boom bum ba boom bum boom ba ba dum boom boom ba boom bum ba boom bum ba boom bum. But I am
So we went off very far into a tangent yesterday. So I just want to restart where we're up to. Hiserus Kloli. That's 6 lines from the top. On Kufa and Gimel. And at this point, we're focusing in on the Etzem Ha'oir, as opposed to his Pashtus Ha'oir, and we identified his Pashtus in a most subtle manner. Hiserus Kloli, any kind of tendency towards functionality or towards action is already called his Pashtus Ha'oir. Avol Bechinas Etzem Ha'oir, but that Bechina which we refer to as Etzem Ha'oir, Shalamaylo, that is above Gam Bechinas Hiserus Kloli, even from that Bechina, from that aspect that's called Hiserus Kloli, as we discussed. But there is not an identifiable tendency, an identifiable product, so to speak, function. Just Hiserus Kloli, that he has the ability to affect something. Etzem Ha'oir is above that. And we discussed, this is where we went off yesterday, the union from Etzem, that in Oir there is an Etzem element. Etzem means something that is true completely unto itself, in and of itself. Harei al derech moshel b'chinas etzem Hashem. That is comparable in the moshel of the bechina of etzem Hashem, of the essence of the name. Again, this we discussed at great length again yesterday. Etzem Hashem, the very essence of the name, like by a person, the essence of his name is something which is totally united with him, and it's inseparable. Every human being, by virtue of being a human being, has a name. Not the assigned name, but the Ayin that he relates to a name and deserves to have a name. So this, in Seder's calling, this is like Etzem Hashem. And no, the mind of Seder's calling Etzem Ha'oir is Etzem Hashem. So by human being, this means things that he has. We said he has Etzem Hashem, the essence of the name, which means that in essence he has a presence in the world. His presence in the world is not an add-on to his mitzvahs. As soon as he comes into the world, as soon as he is born, he He relates to the world, and the world relates to him. Just by being present, just by being there, he already is a contributor. This is called Etzem Hashem. And the Etzem Hashem, he cannot shed, he cannot divest himself of it, because that is the definition of what a human being is. Just occurred to me as an illustration of this, where the Levim were counted in the Midbar. So all the entire Jewish people were counted, 20 and up. Males, 20 and up. What is the criterion of 20 and up? Because that is when they're fit to go and to serve in the army. Yitzit Why is Yitzit such a fundamental criterion? Because a nation in the world, what establishes its presence in the world in a manner that will be accepted, so to speak, and recognized and respected in the world is the tzova. A nation that does not have a tzova is an open-ended presence. To be swallowed up by any ism. So 20 and up, that is the Yitzhov's world. These are the counted people. This is what defines the national presence. Except by the Levim. The Levim, they were counted from 1 month and up. Men Chodesh v'mayla. What's Chodesh? Chodesh, of course, is the stage at which it is established that this is a lasting and a healthy child. Up to a Chodesh, we don't know, it could be a nefel. A nefel means that it doesn't have a real basis for continuing in life, for developing in life. But once he is another nefel, just his presence already establishes him as a real presence, as a real person that can be counted. And as she says, he's already called Shemri Mishmeres HaKodesh. That's what the Levim are called, Shemri Mishmeres HaKodesh. That they guard the holy guard, the holy fence, by their very presence. In a certain sense, in a very real sense, every human being, his presence itself is already a reality in the world. And this is what Etzem Hashem. Why is it called Hashem? Because that the Shem, the name, this is the symbol of his presence in the world. And that he cannot divest himself from this. This is called Etzem Hashem. And that Lamailo is called Etzem Ha'or. The reality, the godly reality. However, this is very important to understand. Lamailo above, in Elokus, in a Shayach Leimer Kein Chas v'Shalom. It's totally inapplicable, inappropriate to say Chas v'Shalom such a statement, such as Sheina Yochel Lifshit as Hashem, that he cannot divest himself of the name. That we said right in the answer. Shaharei, since that Ha'oir Hu Hamshocha Berotzoin, the very presence of Oir altogether. This was the question that we asked all the way back in the Hemshech, many Memorim before. Where does the oil come from? What is oil? How does Atzmos get oil? So we said the oil is Hamshocha Berotzoin. It's a Hamshocha that came volitionally. Atzmos decided that he wants to be in oil. It is within his capacity to be meir oil and also to withdraw the oil. Before. So therefore, in what sense? So therefore, we cannot really compare it to Etzem Hashem in the human being. A human being cannot divest himself of this element of Etzem Hashem. It is not volitional. Only in what way then are we comparing Etzem Ha'oyer to Etzem Hashem? Only in the fact Shemeir Oyer, that when the Oyer is present, Hareihu Bivchinas Dveikus Beho Etzem. When the Oyer is present, volitionally, what is Oyer? It is an element that is Bivchinas Dveikus Beho Etzem, that has the Bivchina, that has the inherent, I've explained, Bivchinas Dveikus, that defines what the Oyer is. Its presence is such that is the Ayin of Dveikus Beho Etzem, of being united and Dovik Beho Etzem, in the Etzem. Again, we discussed this term many times, and in brief, what it means is that this Oyer, even though Oyer by definition is as a functional element, functional means what it can affect outside of the Etzem, but there is the Etzem Ha'oyer that is not defined by function, not what it can be affected. It is just the representation of the presence of the Etzem. B'bchinas Dveikus Beho Etzem. It is a statement that the Etzem is present. This is the initial, this is called Etzem Ha'oyer. This Inyan, that Etzem is present, this is an essential truth. This is not something which is functional or conditional. Etzem is an absolute presence. Like the Rambam says, Etzem is emes. Etzem Ha'oyer represents this emes. It is a presence. This emes itself is not dependent on presence. It is what it is unto itself. The Oyer, Etzem Ha'oyer, brings this emes into a presence. But what does it bring? The exact same emes that is totally not dependent on functionality. It's in the Dveikus Beho Etzem. B'chinas Dveikus Beho Etzem, if we should elaborate on this word, it means that it does not seek, and it is not to be evaluated on the basis of what its effect is. It has no effect. Just to point, just to make a statement that the Etzem is here. And therefore, being that this Oyer, Kishemeir Oyer, it is B'chinas Dveikus Beho Etzem, this is why we say that the moshel for that is Etzem Hashem. But not that they are actually comparable to each other in an absolute sense, because the human being cannot shed his name, whereas the Atzmus does not need Oyer. If it does not need oil, so then oil it would seem like it has to be something functional about it. It's not etzem. This is what we explained many times and alluded to many times. And the original explanation is that oil, the initial oil is Atzmus wanted to be present in oil's form. This is the initial oil. And we discussed then and throughout this whole Hemshech the great significance of this very subtle explanation, that the initial oil is not defined by functionality, defined by the presence of Atzmus. Where, as a result, just to give us a quick handle, as a result of this, the entire creation, as a result of this, there is in the world Torah and Yisrael, which represent Etzem Elokus. Otherwise, everything in the world would just be functional. Torah and Yisrael are not functional. They're Etzem Elokus. Because the Etzem Ha'oir, because there is such a thing as Etzem Ha'oir. That's Dovek B'Ho Etzem. And that's the original element of Oir. Yeah, you have something on your tongue?
Yeah, just question about when we said about the presence, something that has a presence, like the table has a presence. If you bang into the table, you don't have to know what it's all about. It has a certain presence.
One second. Existence. Presence is a message.
Presence is not synonymous with existence.
This means that you bang into a table. That's not a message. We said that when you, an intelligent human being, sees a table in the home, he doesn't see the existence. He sees the presence. He says, "What does it stand for?"
The presence is more like the mahus.
Mahus.
Oh, the presence is like the mahus.
Yeah,
I thought we said presence is the existence of something, even without knowing what it is.
It is not an essential mahus. It is representing, like we're saying over here, he is representing the presence of Atzmus. Representing the presence of Atzmus.
The message of us.
There's a reality. But let me understand what was bothering you.
This is what was bothering me. It's like this whole idea of presence, I'm sort of equating with not significant. And then I'm not sure how you said the human presence is very significant.
The presence is Veikus B'Ho Etzem. Veikus B'Ho Etzem, it says that Etzem is present. Etzem is present. A reality is present. Not, listen, I'm here, so don't step on me. That's not what the Veikus B'Ho Etzem is.
So I'm here and this is what I stand for? No. I'm here, not I'm here. This is what's here. There's something here.
I came to this step on it. If you see a person lying on the floor,
yeah,
and you're not going to step on this person, why? Because he's going to kick you?
No.
Because you're going to get hurt? Because there's a person there. Well, that's not the person. It's supposed to be standing up.
I understand the mashal. What's the nimshal?
Etzem ha'oir is the reality of Atzmus. except in presenting himself. Because Atzmus itself is, as I said, is not bound by having oir. Like we said, the sun cannot divest itself of its oir. Even though we told it's an atzmi, it's an atzmi for oir. Like a person cannot divest himself of his name. So we have this moshel from name, from Etzem Hashem, or Etzem Ha'oir in the Shemesh. And it is a moshel, and it's a qualified moshel.
Yeah.
Okay, canal. ובוודאי, surely, שאינו דומה עניין הדבקות בהעצם האור, ובבחינת הספשטות האור. Because we spoke previously, just in the previous page, that's in the introduction to this, that the hispashtus also has the element of dveikus. Because the loss continue. Just want to, his pashtus in general is like the person being called by name. And we explained when we discussed this, that a person being called by name, to make it clear, in contrast to those people who named their dogs and called them dog by name, we understand, and even they understand, is that there is a fundamental difference between calling a child by name and lahavdil a dog. By a dog, the name is just a reference point, a means of alerting, of speaking of who are you talking about? What are you talking about? That's a name. A human being, the name is a reality of the human being. Even when you call him by name, even though that's a given name, it's a specific name, Reuven, Shimon, Levi, that Reuven, Shimon, Levi, that applied a given name, is not chitzonius, is not representing him. He could be called Reuven, could be called Shimon. It was a decision of the parents to give him this name. And that aspect of the name can even be changed. Like we changed the name, we add a name, and so forth. But yet still, when we call him by the given name, we're not referring to the given name. We're referring to the person who owns that name. And the reason he owns a name is because by him, in a person, there is an element of Etzem Hashem, that this is his presence that deserves to be named, because he's a reality. So we call him by name, we're not referring to, this is not just a nickname. That's why I said the difference between a nickname and the name. You're not just alluding to him, you're calling him by his name. So this is the hispashtus hoir. So this is also connected to him because you are referring to him, not to his name. But nevertheless, we have to understand that that the Vada, this is what he continues now. Is not comparable. The Dveikus element, as it is present in the Etzem of the Oir, or Bebchinas is Pashtos Oir. And the way the Dveikus element is to be understood is present in his Pashtos Oir. Umikol Mokoim, but nevertheless, even so, Gam his Pashtos he Bebchinas Dveikus. The Hispashtus too is Bebchinas Dveikus, has an element of Dveikus. Even though Hispashtus, this is already functional, nevertheless it has the element of Dveikus. Ukmei al derech moshel. Now we're going back to the moshel, so we have it. Ukmei al derech moshel, as by the moshel, b'kriyas shem ha'odam al dover. When the name of the person is applied to something, to some property, and we explained that this is already of a secondary nature. His name is applied to a property. It's not the Etzem Hashem. It's not his essence. So we explained then that even though that this is just an application of the name, still Shmoi Nikro al Hadover. Hahu, his name is applied to that thing. And that thing is affected to the extent that it has a connection, a shaykh to him, as a result of his name being called on this thing, on this property. Again, we've discussed this and we pointed out the profound richness that is expressed in this. The whole phenomenon of a person owning of property, ownership, which we can more tangibly understand when we contrast that to the animal protecting its turf. But there is no such thing as ownership in the animal world. Animals do not have that whole presence to own anything, and yet they can protect their turf like the lion protects his area. He doesn't own it. A human being owns property. His name, and how does he own his property? What owning means? Just like I'm holding this watch. So that's possession. Possession is ownership. How do I own property? I'm away. You own property by your name being applied to this property. What's a name have to do? How does a name create ownership? The answer, okay, I'd like to understand. The reason I have a name is because I am a real presence in the world. That's the reason I have a name. And therefore, if my name is applied to a property, it's my presence. It is denoting, is alluding to my reality in the world. And this is how I'm able to own property in the world. So even though this is also reality, it actually is representing the reality of the person. But this is the hispashtus of that reality. It is definitely connected to him. And it is definitely representative of the truth of his presence. If he were an animal, can also be called by name, he doesn't have that property. His name applied to an object is totally insignificant.
The spashtus here is the application of a person's name to something he owns.
Mm-hmm.
By virtue of the fact that he's a real presence, he then has this kind of function that he's allowed. He can.
Then he has a name. Because he has a name, the name has two levels. There's the Etzem Hashem, representing his reality, and then there's his Pashtus Hashem, how this affects
in the world.
Affecting the world. We explained, okay, it's getting late, but I don't see that if you own a home, and we explained that you own a home, so this home, every less square inch is your presence. Because you are a human being, you're present everywhere that you are. If you take this home, if you break through a wall and you move the wall 10 feet away, and you make the home twice the size. In order for you to own that additional 10 feet, do you have to expand yourself? You have to expand yourself. It's the same reality. Your name automatically goes because your reality is real. Reality does not have limit. We explained, remember, we explained the Ayin from the Ayin Soif and all that. So this is an unlimited human error. Okay, we have to okay, so there's even his Pashtus also has a shachas to him, also has an Vegas. And here is where we're going to stop and meet him tomorrow, continue on. Have a good day, wherever you are on the line. Call to.
Have a good day. Thank you very much.
Call to David. Brother.
Na 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 na